1. There's a famous adage in magic that every magician knows. It is easier to fool someone when they've already fooled themselves. You see, magicians are the best tricksters because they psychologically use your mind against yours. I want you all to have a fighting chance against these tricksters, that way you're not so easily fooled. And also, what fun would it be when I trick you and you don't understand? Today I'm here to inform you about the 3 psychological tricks magicians use: misdirection, the step-ahead principle, and the big movement hides the small movement. My family is in the entertainment business, and I've been a magician, a professional magician that is, for 19 years. And now that the stage is set, we can go on to Act 1, misdirection. Misdirection can lead to your own deception. According to magician Bill Tarr, misdirection is the process of diverting the spectator's attention from that which you don't want them to see to that which you do. In other words, I draw your attention over here while I do the secret move. So, for example, in the cups and balls, I say to keep your eye on the little ball, and I put it underneath the cup. I then put the cup over it, and I tap the cup. You expect the ball is still under the cup, but when I reveal it, the ball has vanished. I show the cup and the ball vanishes, and I talk while this is happening. That way I condition your mind into believing what I want you to believe. This is what we magicians call patter. There's a famous experiment named Pavlov's bell, and in that experiment there's a bell and a dog. And when the bell hears the dog, or when the dog hears the bell ring, the dog receives a treat. And after a while, the dog expects there's a treat every time the bell is rung. So when the bell is rung this time, the dog doesn't receive a treat, but the dog salivates. This is called classical conditioning. Raymond states, in the described experiment, the conditioned stimulus was the ringing of the bell, and the conditioned response was salivation. Misdirection can lead to your own deception. And now that I've conditioned you, we can move on to Act 2, because what magicians need to do is they need to condition the audience on the fly. The step-ahead principle. Being a step ahead plants ideas in people's heads. Magicians do this often since this is normally how tricks work. I lead you to believe something that is not really happening. Any trick that uses a vanish or uses that method, such as the cups and balls, uses this method. I put one ball under one of the cups and I mix them all around and I tell you, you need to find them. And I continue to say, you need to find them. But whichever cup you pick, the ball will never be under there, because as soon as I put the ball underneath the cup, the ball vanished. But since I said it again and again, you started to believe me. You think the ball is under one cup since I said it was. This is what we magicians call timing. We make something vanish and then do the secret move. We patiently wait to reveal what happens later for greater effect. Pilat explains, the illusory truth effect describes how, when we are repeatedly exposed to misinformation, we are made likely to believe that it's true. I fool the audience and I say something that is not necessarily true, and I make them think that what is false is true. And sooner rather than later, the false truth does become the reality. Being a step ahead plants ideas in people's heads. Now that I've planted that idea in your mind, we can move on to Act 3. The big movement hides the small movement. The easiest thing to believe is what I want you to perceive. If I have a big colored ball, you're more likely to see that ball than what my hands are actually doing. So for example, in the cups and balls, I make all of the balls vanish, but you don't see me load an orange into the cup, because I'm using big movements and I'm talking. Nope, you don't see it because your mind can only unfocus on one thing at a time. Magician Hudson explains, participants were asked to watch a video of basketball players passing a ball and count the number of passes. As they focused on counting the passes, most participants failed to notice a person in a gorilla costume walk across the screen. The experiment illustrates how our attention can be so fixated on a particular task that it blinds us to other details in our surroundings. In this case, the task was to watch the ball, since that's all I use the entire trick. The easiest thing to believe is what I want you to perceive. Kuhn wraps everything neatly by stating, real misdirection deceives not only the eye of the spectator, but his mind as well. Today we have learned about the 3 magic tricks that magicians use: misdirection, the step-ahead principle, and the big movement hides the small movement. Now these tactics are used in your day-to-day, but not just by magicians, but by big companies as well. And now you have a fighting chance against these tricksters. Magicians, on the other hand, well, that's a different story. But remember, I will be misdirecting your perception, since I will always be one step ahead.